Hello there, everyone. Welcome. We are on Classic Battlefront 2 right now. You might be confused as to why it's such a small screen. I'm confused as to why it's such a small screen, to be quite honest. But when I then load into a game, it's a big screen. So I don't really know. I've always had this issue with this game. So yeah, it is on. It's all on that. So yeah, please excuse this. It won't be for long. So yeah, One Speed, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. DJ, good to see you as well. Yes, we are live. We are live now, indeed. Yeah, it's just an old game. Yeah, that's the thing. It must just be because it's such an old game. But the gameplay itself will go to the full size of this screen. I have tested it prior to this, so do not worry about that. I'm thinking of just doing some instant action over on here, maybe doing some Hunt XL, and then potentially moving over to Battlefront 1, where I'll then do some of my favourite maps from there, so maybe something like Renvar and Cloud City and Bespin platforms and stuff like that, basically. So that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to start it off on XL Hoth. And then we'll do XL Geonosis. And then... Oh, and then we have to do Mos Eisley Hunt. That's awesome. Hey Jen, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Studying maths currently and tired AF. Oh dear. Well, hopefully the studying goes well. Sure it'll be absolutely fine. You'll smash it. Tantive 4 is one of my favourite maps, so that's going in there. What else? Let's do these 5 things for now, and I'll see how we're doing on time, and just see how I'm feeling, because then, you know, maybe we'll then head over to some Battlefront 1. But yeah, this is what I'm going to do. So XL Hoth, Galactic Civil War, XL Geonosis, Clone Wars, obviously, Mos Eisley Hunt, so Tusken Raiders versus Jawas, then Tantive 4, Galactic Civil War Conquest, and then Coruscant Conquest on Clone Wars. So yeah, it should be good. Roman Skywalker, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Did you enjoy the Bad Batch? I did, yes. I have a Patreon review for that going live for paid tiers probably tomorrow. Just so you're all aware. I did also, if you didn't see, I did release some new merch, which I've pinned in the comment and stuff like that, for Battlefront. So there is also that, which is very exciting. So yeah, I really hope they port Geonosis from Battlefront 1 over to Battlefront 2. If not now, then hopefully as an update. I don't think they will to start. I mean, I certainly don't think it'll be there. Let me know how the volume is as well, if it's too quiet or too loud. Ooh. Getting used to the controls is fun. This is XL, by the way, so we've got 350 tickets. Tons and tons of people. Look at that! That's ridiculous. I got missiles on me right now, which is just not fun. Oh! That was silky. Jesus. Yes. No! Oh, I thought I got away from that. Jesus. I really did. But yeah, GN's doing good. That is excellent news. I really thought I had that, you know. That's a rebel. That's not. I didn't realise they had the 8080 drivers as like things. Thank you, AI. AI giving me. Well, I guess that's instead of the overall like normal rebel pilots and things. Imperial pilots even. It's mine now. Just try and contribute to taking that thing out. Ooh. That was a bit scary. There are genuinely so many, it's ridiculous. I can play as Luke. The problem is my wireless keyboard. It has FN 1, 2, 3, and so on, but I don't actually know how to get them to work because the 1, 2, and 3 buttons also change the keyboard layout, like sort of binding that I have. So I don't use 2 of the profiles on it, but yeah. This is just absolute carnage. Watch this. Yes. I'm really excited to see like what sort of videos people get up to with this game, honestly, like whether it'll be, you know, well, like, you know, crazy big hero kill streaks, or you can't capture command posts in XL mode. I was actually just thinking that, but yeah, you cannot capture them as tested there. Yeah, so it's just like, you know, hero kill streak videos. GN in the chat, the GN way, he's doing a top 5 play series as announced today. So if you're not subscribed to GN yet, please go ahead and subscribe to him and submit your clips to GN once the Classic Collection goes live, because he'll have some top 5 plays videos and stuff like that, which will be awesome. Still got tons of health. I'm keen to see how it goes with this in the end. Kill wise, will be very nice to see. Oh, come on. I also just want to say a massive thank you to everyone as well. Like, this last week and a half has been genuinely insane. I mean, already the stream's up to about 11 people, which I haven't had on a stream, like, properly in a long time. Pretty much every Battlefront video has hit 1k views as well, which is just insane for me as well. So yeah, big thank you. I'm going to be doing like tons of Battlefront Classic content when the game, I mean, I've still got, it's Wednesday, I've still got 2 Classic Battlefront videos to come out this week at least, and then like post launch I'll have tons, and then, you know, Star Wars Hunters hopefully isn't like too far away, so yeah, so hopefully, if that's not too far away either, then we'll have, you know, we'll go from this being a multiplayer Styles game straight to another multiplayer Styles game, basically, which is just mental. Ooh, excuse me. So, yeah, we could be in for a bit of a treat for Star Wars multiplayer over these next few months. Obviously, Hunters doesn't have a release date currently, but I do have my suspicions on it being fairly soon. We're very likely getting an update in yeah, ooh, yeah, that'll kill myself. Yeah, we're very likely getting an update in just less than 3 weeks yesterday it would have been. So the 26th of March we're likely getting an update for the game, which I believe is probably going to be the last soft launch update, but naturally, we will just have to wait and see. The Bothan Spy is going to be so annoying in multiplayer. I feel like there's going to be so much rage content on it. I could be wrong, but I can just feel it. Oh, I was just about to get the health, man. Be interesting to see how the hype is when the game comes out. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I don't know if I mean, because like pre-launch with, there we go, victory. You know, pre-launch with a lot of games, like especially on YouTube, like you really see it. Like the sort of the last month, especially going into launch, 83 kills there, nice. Yeah, the last month before launch is just absolutely like mental. And then yeah, let's be a sharpshooter again. Yeah, sorry. So the month prior to the game launching is just ridiculous. Like the hype is just there, and people will consume like anything on the game. And I remember, I remember that phase of, Battlefront 2 2017 coming out. Like I was consuming content left, right, and center, honestly, with that game. Like even months before launch, so like I know exactly sort of how it feels from a viewer perspective with that. Obviously, at that point, I wasn't doing YouTube, so now I don't really watch a lot of content because I'm, typically making it. But yeah, like we're eating good as Star Wars fans now. I think obviously the game's not going to get multiplayer like content support or anything. There's not going to be any additional content added to the game at any point. I mean, I guess that there always could be, but there's nothing they would add unless it was like Battlefront 1 maps to Battlefront 2 or Battlefront 2 maps to Battlefront 1. Like that's the only thing they could do because it's not like there's other content that like was released way back when or anything. So yeah, they're not going to support the game for multiplayer, which I know a lot of people aren't going to get the game for multiplayer and they don't really care too much about that. But yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how people like react to the game releasing, and yeah, how long the player base sticks around, really, because it's like if and I'll notice it mostly through like viewership and stuff like that. I think once the game comes out, then there always could be a drop, but it it also depends on what type of content is being made. Because at the moment it's like it's not out yet, so people want to know things about the game, or they see a video about it, so they're like, oh yeah, maybe I've not seen this yet. So there's a lot of that sort of stuff going on. But then when the game comes out and it's in their hands, then at that point that's where you have to get like really sort of smart with what you're posting, I think. So yeah, we'll see. I mean, at that point it's like, I guess guide content is probably the best sort of thing to make. But yeah. Oh, I almost ran into that one. Just sending the grenades. Jesus Christ. I really don't know how to start this for content. I went back to my usual routine of looking up if there was any Battlefront news every few months with great pessimism, but this last week has been quite good. That's the thing. It's like sometimes, like, yeah, it's like people will do that. Like they'll look for news every now and then. So they might see like a video and it'd be like, meh, doesn't really give us anything new, but or realistically there hasn't been anything new for months now, apart from like a few supposed leaks here and there. Jeez. But like, yeah, these last 2 weeks now have been pretty good. Why is this ATT facing the wrong way? Yeah, but these last few weeks for Battlefront in general as a franchise has been really nice. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully it will carry on. I do hope that the Classic Collection releasing sort of shows that people clearly still want a Battlefront game to, sort of just release and, get content on a regular basis. I think, it'd be silly not to see that. But at the same time, like, I think I've sort of come to realise quite a lot about, like, licensing fees being quite extreme and other fees that I never really considered before. For example, like platforms as well, like PlayStation and Xbox and Steam and stuff, they all have like, platform fees and stuff like that as well. So, it could be 20%, or, it's like 20% for Disney because of just using the Star Wars license, but then platform fees I think can be sort of like 20 to 30% as well. So, Rich96, thank you for the sub, appreciate it. Yeah, it's like platform fees is then 20 to 30% as well, I think. I don't actually know, but based on the conversation I had before, that seems to be the case. So that's already 50% of your income gone, whereas for anyone else it's just like 20 to 30% still because they're not using the Star Wars license or anything like that. So that's where, oh, damn it, man. That's where it can get a bit hairy, is because of all these other like additional fees on top of the licensing fees. So I mean, I think 20% is like ridiculous in all fairness. I think if they were able to, yeah, especially like with EA, for example, like they've been making Star Wars games for so long now that I feel like surely Disney would have room for negotiation. Well, would they, have room for negotiation where it's like, okay, well, yeah, we've had, mind you, like I don't think the licensing fee would have been that big. It wouldn't have been anywhere near as big, I don't think, when they had the exclusive license. But now I just think, they've been in partnership for so long. Like, can they not just have a bit of a goodwill sort of thing and just take it down to like 15 or 12% or something like that, Because at that point, it's a bit more encouraging. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a shame because if they keep driving, if they're having super high licensing fees and stuff like that, then they're not. Yeah, if their licensing fees are that high, then they're not gonna like. It's not particularly enticing for companies to, make Star Wars games because they're just not gonna really make a huge amount of money from it. Which is ultimately what you want as a business. I mean, I feel like if I was gonna make a game studio and stuff like that, I'd want the focus to sort of be on Star Wars games. So it's like at that point, I don't really care too much about making crazy profit and stuff like that. But that's just not how it works, really. And also, I'd have to get to a point where I become reputable enough and get a good idea and stuff like that, and Lucasfilm would be like, yeah, okay, we'll do that. But it would be a super long process and obviously not an easy thing to do. So I've noticed Kit Fisto and Asajj already on the Xbox version. Yeah, so Asajj and Kit Fisto were already, so they were part of the bonus content for oh yeah, they have art castles. Right, so what was I saying? Yeah, so Kit Fisto and Asajj Ventress were part of the bonus content for the Xbox Live patch. So yeah, they were always on Xbox, like way back in the day, basically. But they're now being brought to other platforms through the Classic Collection. So damn it, man. I'm gonna go to the Tuscans, to be honest. I think Tuscan Raider, Tuscan Hunter. What's the difference? It says Tuscan Cycler and then bolt action rifle. Guess we'll find out. Bro, what? How are you not doing like? I've got worries in case the multiplayer becomes dead quickly. Yeah, that like, I am kind of concerned about that as well. That's one of my biggest fears, especially if the game doesn't have like a proper party system. But because at that point, people can't join on with their friends easily, and then so it's not a very encouraging thing to get people to want to play the game. So yeah, that's a thing. So we'll see. I mean, I've got hope that it will go on for a while. I think a lot of people will be playing this game for a long time to come anyway. So yeah, is the volume okay for you guys? By the way, is it like loud enough, or is it too quiet, like compared to my voice and stuff like that? Because I didn't actually ask. Isn't EA's time almost up with having the Star Wars license, or was it renewed again? Well, no. So they had an exclusive license which ran out last year, but like was officially announced to be ending in 2020. So they don't have exclusive license anymore, but they're still making Star Wars games, but they just don't have exclusivity. So it's not like, so they're not, they're still making Star Wars games, but it's just not only them making games now, basically. Hence why like Zynga are making Star Wars Hunters, and like Quantic Dream are making Star Wars Eclipse and things like that. Volume is perfect. Okay, nice. Why did EA even accept the Star Wars license in the first place is what I've been wondering lately. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily, I don't think it would have been a case of like Lucasfilm were like, hey EA, do you want the license? And like, yeah, sure. Like there would have been a lot of negotiation for it anyway. I mean, it's probably, it could have been a thing that Lucasfilm just went straight to them and was just like, hey, what's up guys? Like, because they've done a lot of work with EA before anyway, especially like with Swittle, for example. But yeah, I mean, EA are a bit of a weird one because, years ago they said, I say years ago, like, I feel like it was maybe back in like 2017, 18, they said, they pretty much said single player games are dead, we're not making, like, and they're just not good. But then Jedi Fallen Order did insane. And then Jedi Survivor's also done really well. But now they've said that they don't want to do... They're moving away from licensed IP and they're trying to focus more on live service games again. Even though, like... I don't know. It's just... The whole thing's a bit weird, really. I just feel like they're a little bit out of touch right now. So, yeah. It's hard to know what to make of the whole situation, to be honest. Like, I'm hoping they do, like, I do want EA to still make Star Wars games because every game they have made has been good. Like Battlefront 1, I mean, I really enjoyed that. I didn't have any problems with it. I mean, I was like 15 when it came out, and it was a Battlefront game. Like, the fact that I grew up on these games, like, I was over the moon. Battlefront 2 obviously had its launch fiasco, and like the first 6 months of the game's life were a bit hairy, but I still had fun with the game. And obviously it ended up having a hugely successful lifespan. And ultimately, I started doing YouTube with it, and I guess in a way sort of changed my life, sort of thing. So, absolutely loved Battlefront 2. Jedi Fallen Order then came out, amazing game. Squadrons came out, amazing game. Just didn't get what it deserved, in my opinion. Survivor, fantastic. They've made a lot of great games with the license. So I'd really want them to continue with it. The cancellation of their first-person shooter is really surprising, honestly, because it's from what we've heard, it sounded awesome. So I think their decision to cancel it was bizarre. But, I don't make the decisions, so, Paras, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So if this game, it's going to be good. The graphics, honestly, the graphics will probably look a little bit like what you're seeing now, if not slightly worse. I think the game is I think they've actually like taken the Xbox version of the game and used AI to upscale the textures, so it actually looks like slightly worse than PC. If you have a look at the video I released, I think actually today, if you look at my most recent video, you'll see a post from Azatru that I or even Azatru's video. There's a link to that in the description of that video. It's a comparison between the collection trailer, the classic collection trailer, PC and Xbox. So PC actually looks decent. Well, that's a fusion cutter. hope that went well. I actually really like the Rebel Smuggler. Like the shotgun is so nice to use. Yeah, Polar said earlier that AAA Star Wars games just don't really make that much, with the current fees really up to AA studios being able to make Star Wars games. And that's the thing, it's like, if we don't necessarily see like big fancy swanky AAA games and stuff, but we see a bunch of like smaller studios making great Star Wars games, I don't necessarily have a huge issue with that. Like, I just want to see Star Wars games on a consistent basis. Ooh, that could be bad. You know, as long as they're good games, you know, that's fine. Like, they don't have to be a big swanky, you know, not every game has to be a Jedi Survivor or a Star Wars Outlaws or a Star Wars Battlefront. Like, it could, you know, it could be a small, it could be something like Star Wars Hunters, or you know, where it's a smaller scale multiplayer, but you know, hopefully it will get serviced for years to come, you know. Star Wars Outlaws looks nice, yeah. Star Wars Outlaws looks phenomenal. I can't wait for that. Alright, One Speed said he's going to focus. That is all good. Mandalorian Martin, good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Damn it. Maybe a new company makes Battlefront. Yeah, I mean, you know, there always could be a new company that makes Battlefront instead. The big question is kind of who, though. Like, I don't know if I'd really want anyone else touching it. I mean, I think like you know, you have three sort of obvious sort of choices really. You've got EA because they have Battlefield, and you know, they've done Battlefront already. Like, I'd be absolutely, I've seen a lot of people saying like, nah, they don't want EA touching Battlefront again, but with what they turned Battlefront 2 into, like, I would be more than fine to see DICE come back to Battlefront. Because at the end of the day, like, they make, you know, DICE do make really good games, so I'd be more than happy to see that. Another obvious choice is Activision. But that's just a big no from me, to be honest. It's just a red flag, honestly. With the way Call of Duty's gone, it's a bit like, not a big fan of that. So, I mean, the thing is, right, Activision have done some good things, but with Call of Duty, I don't like how they've like handled Call of Duty. But if they did it with if they did a Star Wars game, then hopefully it would be better than what they do with Call of Duty. It's not. It's also not one of those things they just release, you know, every, you know, year. It'd be a game that they just release once and they actually service it properly for a while. You know, they add new skins on a regular basis and stuff. But my biggest fear with Activision would simply be their monetization system. I'd be a bit scared of that. But that is an option. And then also Ubisoft as well. You know, they've done some first-person shooters and stuff like that. They've got X-Defiant coming out fairly soon, which, you know, I played the beta for that back in like the summer of last year, and that played really nicely. So, you know, I'd be open to seeing if Ubisoft could do something like that. But if they don't do like a big, large-scale Battlefront, I would absolutely love to see Ubisoft make like a small-scale, you know, like extraction shooter sort of thing. You know, I used to play the heck out of Siege back in the day with my friends, and I, you know, really enjoyed that. So I wouldn't mind seeing like, you know, a Siege-like multiplayer from Ubisoft. But yeah, I don't know. It's just difficult. You know, we just don't see much. You know, we don't get a good idea of things really. I mean, the nice thing is, right, is there's plenty of studios out there who can make great single player games. I think multiplayer can be a bit trickier to sort of manage, and I think they've got a lot of people working on single player games now that, you know, Ubisoft are working on Outlaws, which looks amazing. Quantic Dream are working on Eclipse, and all their games are pretty much, well, you know, award-winning games and stuff like that. Amy Hennig is working on a Star Wars game, which is likely single player and stuff like that as well. So, yeah, I think the single player space for Star Wars is in a really good place. They've got XCOM developers working on a strategy game as well, which hopefully, you know, I think we'll have like hopefully a really cool like single player story, but I'm then hoping it will have like multiplayer as well, because I think a multiplayer strategy game would be really cool. But I think that's the thing as well. Like, we don't need a Battlefront. It's just, you know, how nice would it be to get a game that has, like, you know, at launch it's got like all of the original trilogy, prequel trilogy, sequel trilogy sort of content in there already, in terms of like maps and heroes and things like that. Plus maybe a couple extras like Din Djarin and Ahsoka, Ventress and whatnot. But then, you know, post-launch they're then, you know, adding content from Star Wars Rebels, Clone Wars, Resistance, The Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Andor, just things like that. You know, they just continue to add content and stuff like that. You know, Battlefront 2 could have easily carried on going like that and, you know, just done hugely well. But there we go. Like, you know, kind of, you know, like I said, I think as long as we get multiplayer Star Wars games, I'm fine. You know, we've got this coming out soon again with, you know, multiplayer, so hopefully there's going to be a, you know, pretty big audience for that. You know, and then we've got Star Wars Hunters coming out as well. So, you know, with Star Wars Hunters, it's like they've got a really fun, you know, I know Hunters is a fun game, so, you know, hopefully, sorry, I'm just going to choose a space mission, and then the Boo has Hunt. Oh yeah, it's Gungans, let's do that. And then let's do Kashyyyk XL. I'll do these three and then I'll go on to Battlefront 1, I think. But yeah, I mean, the thing is, with you know, with Star Wars Hunters, like, they have a really good solid game as a base already, and they can just keep adding loads of content to that game. Apologies, just hit the mic there. Yeah, they can make some really interesting content for that game. You know, they can just keep adding loads of hunters inspired by characters within the franchise. So obviously we won't be seeing the likes of Captain Rex and yeah, it's not a game that will see, you know, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader and the likes. You know, we won't be getting that. So if that's what your expectations are, then don't have them that way. But you know, we can have, you know, we could have a clone trooper who's got skins inspired by all the different clone legions and you know, different aliens and like battle droids and Zabraks and things like that. You know, like, there is a lot of potential for that sort of stuff in the game. And then, you know, they add maps inspired by, you know, Ferrix and you know, from Andor and stuff like that. So Hunters, you know, Star Wars Hunters can kind of do what Battlefront 2 should have done and, you know, was doing, and, you know, what could have been. So Hunters definitely can do that. It's just not in the same sort of large scale that, you know, we're used to with Battlefront. It'll be like a smaller scale map and, you know, a new hunter, but then loads of skins for different characters inspired by these things. So I'm really excited for Hunters in that regard, because, yeah, it can sort of do what Battlefront was doing. So that's a big thing for me. And yeah, you're absolutely right, Paris. Like, Battlefront 2 was literally you know, I mean, it had been like, you know, in a really good place for a while, but, you know, January 2020 they had doubled the player count from launch or something like that, which is just mental. Like, or they had a higher player count at that point than they did at launch of the game, which is mental. Like 2.5 years later, that, you know, it's just absurd. And they could have just easily kept it going, made so much money from it. You know, licensing fees aside, like, you know, they genuinely would have done so well. But yeah, I think the thing is though, they called the end to the game before that, so because they'd already sort of said like, yeah, we're stopping, they kind of had to go through with it, which maybe was to some regret, but now they're sort of in a position where they can't go back on that decision. They're just like, nah, sorry. So who knows. But yeah, it was one of the biggest comebacks in gaming history, that's the thing. Like, it literally was. It was one of the biggest controversies in games, and is one of the biggest successful, like, you know, one of the biggest comebacks. Like, it's that ridiculous, you know. If Hunters does really well and beat expectations, maybe other studios would try and get a slice of the pie, but right now nobody really wants to do multiplayer in Star Wars. Yeah, that's the thing. It feels like multiplayer is a bit of a scary subject for a lot of people, I think, but yeah, I'm hoping that Hunters can do well, and yeah, they'll just keep doing that. But I mean, the thing is, like, you know, Star Wars Hunters is a really good game. You know, I know they've not, you know, they haven't shown us what they can really do properly yet because it's still in soft launch. But with what they've been doing in the soft launch, I honestly, like, I'd be more than happy to see more from Zynga. And I think that's another thing as well, like mobile games, you know, I know mobile gaming isn't for everyone. It certainly wasn't really a crazy big thing for me, but like Hunters is really solid, and you know, thank God it's coming to the Switch as well. It's a big saving grace for me, especially when it comes to streaming the game. But like, come on, there we go. Yeah, I'd be more than keen to see another Star Wars game from Zynga. You know, on you know whether it's them trying to push the console more, or whether it's another mobile game and stuff like that. I honestly, you know, would be keen to see that. So yeah, we were very close to getting Ventress and Ahsoka, I think. Like, I think it probably could have been like in the summer we would have got them, maybe, or like just after the summer, like September time, September, October. I think we were pretty close to getting them, which sucks big time. Like, and we were also meant to then be getting Mustafar. Like, that update would have been Ahsoka, Ventress, Mustafar. Like, it would have been a massive update. Like, imagine just even, you know, even just with those characters in the game, like if they were in them, they were in it now, imagine how much different the game would have felt. Like, just that map, those two heroes, done. Like, nothing else. I feel like the game would feel so different even now if that was the case. Another engine. Damage increase. Let's go. Oh, I've been alive for a while, to be fair. Doing right. Well, the thing is, COVID wasn't really a thing when... COVID wasn't an issue when Battlefront 2 got cancelled. I mean, it had started to... it had started to be. I think they would have. I think there would have been more content added, like maybe some more weapons or whatever. I think more stuff would have come to the game had COVID not been a factor. But I don't think it stopped us from getting the likes of Ahsoka and stuff like that. Oh yeah, they've got like a shock sort of cannon thing, and their bombs, I think. That's down. Do you think Skylance new media based on the cancelled game in 2017? I don't think so, to be honest. Like, I mean, it could be, I guess. Like, the Skylance game from Amy Hennig could be loosely based off of Project Ragtag, but I don't, like, legally, I don't think they could. I mean, she wouldn't be able to use... Yeah. I just think there would be a lot of legal, like, things regarding that. Because it's... Because, yes, okay, they cancelled Ragtag, but it's still, like... I mean, yes, it's Star Wars property, but it's also, like, EA's. I think EA will also... That was a bit silly. I think EA are, you know, within their rights to essentially claim ownership of that. So, yeah, I don't think it'll be... I mean, yeah. It could be a new game altogether, that's the thing. Which I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I am just excited to see it, though, whatever it is. You know, assuming it does still happen. Because this is my fear now. Like, we've had one Star Wars game cancelled in... Well, I mean, from EA, there's been like 4, right? But, you know, we've had one game cancelled, and all of a sudden, I'm scared to death that other games will get cancelled. You know, like, that's genuinely a big sort of fear now, is that no game is safe. Which, you know, it might be silly to say, but, yeah. Sorry, give me 2 seconds. Right. Yeah, they are also working on a Marvel game. I'm really excited for that Marvel game. Because it's like World War II, Captain America. Yeah, it's Captain America, Black Panther, World War II soldier, and one of the like Black Panther guards and stuff as well, which will be pretty cool. It's like 4 characters in one story, which is pretty neat. So, yeah, it should be good. I mean, the thing is, that game was announced in the Marvel game, I think, was announced... When was it? So the Star Wars game got announced in April 2021, I think, or was it 2022? No, it was 2 years ago it was announced, because it was like it was the year after all of the crazy announcements. So, oh, that's right, yeah, because we had Lego Star Wars release, and then yeah, like 2 weeks later there was that announcement, which was just a bit like, what the heck. So the Marvel game then was announced in like September 2021, I think, and then was showcased, like, they had that first trailer in like September, October 2022, so a year later. The Star Wars game was announced sort of, you know, 6 to 7 months after the Marvel game was announced, but is still yet to see a trailer or anything like that. So, you know, and now nearly 2 years later, instead of the one that the Marvel game had to wait for. So, oh god, yeah. So I have absolutely no idea what to expect for that Star Wars game, to be honest. Yeah, my sort of timeline. Yeah, I wasn't expecting... The Gungans are always so difficult to win in that one. My timeline of this year now, I think, would be... I killed 6 of my team. Wow. Actually, no, I didn't kill any I don't think I killed anyone because they're -1s, so I'm guessing they team killed. But yeah, my timeline here now is this game releases, Hunter's update end of March, Hunter's release May or June, probably May, I'd say, because then we've got like all of the game shows and yeah, in like at mid-June is like the Summer Games Fest and stuff like that. So we'll then have potentially Outlaws will get like a trailer and release date announced there, and then this is crazy. So this is XL on Kashyyyk now, which is just absolutely mental. This is probably this is potentially what it was actually like on the Battle of Kashyyyk. So, damn it. Yeah, so, what was I saying? Damn it. So, yeah, June we'll probably get these, fancy trailers and things like that. So I reckon we'll get one for Star Wars Outlaws, announcing a release date, showing us some new footage and being all swanky looking. I don't think I'd be too surprised if we got like a Star Wars game announcement that was like then teased for 2025 release, because so far we don't actually know anything about what's happening next year. So yeah, like this year we know Star Wars Hunters is happening, we know Outlaws is happening, so they're like the 2 games for this year, and it was said that they kind of want to release 2 games per year. I was under the impression that the FPS game would have been releasing next year as well anyway, so that sort of maybe pushes out a game for next year, so maybe we'll only get 1 game. But Hunters will be out getting content, so I don't think I'd mind that much. But then yeah, like it's just really difficult to it's just difficult to know, isn't it? That's the problem. Let's go recon droid. Get this bad boy blown up in some... Oh no, I'm done. Yeah, so I think we could get some kind of like trailer showcased for a game releasing in 2025 as well for Star Wars, maybe. That could be... I mean, it could be anyone, right? Because at that point, then it would be 3 years later for like Amy Hennig's game, so that's a fairly reasonable like time frame, because that's 3 years. Quantic Dream with Eclipse, that would have been, that was late 2020 it was announced, so that could be 4.5 to 5 years in terms of its release sort of schedule, which, I mean, could happen, but obviously there's all these rumours about the game not releasing until like 2026, 2027 anyway, so that still probably won't happen. So yeah, my expectation would be Skydance, or what else is happening? Because it was always like 3 games from EA, Skydance, Hunters. I don't think there was much more than that, to be fair. Ooh. Oh, the KOTOR remaster, of course. Remake, even, yeah. That's been a bit of a weird one, because loads of people were like, nah, the game's not happening. But then Saber Interactive has actually just been bought out by like private investors and stuff. So the game is actually still happening, but we just have absolutely no idea when it's going to release. I think my assumption is that was also potentially meant to release like next year initially, but then it went into development hell at Aspire Media and changed to Saber Interactive and stuff, so then that probably pushed things back a couple years. But then I think Saber Interactive are also a big studio with like 3,500 people, and You know, so they're making loads of different games. So we may not even see the KOTOR remake until like the end of the decade. You know, it might be like 2028, 2029 or something like that until we see that. Jedi Survivor prequel, I think, will be like 2026, 2027. Yeah, the third Jedi Fallen, like the third Jedi game, I think will be like late 2026 or early 2027 for that one. Just because it came out in 2023, so yeah, I think we're, you know, a 3 to 4 year wait for that's realistic. It's like 3 Star Wars games every year. 3 Star Wars games a year would be nice, but I don't think that's going to be the case. Going to go on to Battlefront 1 now. Do some Bespin. So, yeah, like, I have hope that... I mean, because the other thing as well, right, is... Oh, Epic Games is another one I wouldn't mind seeing them doing, like, a Star Wars, like, first-person shooter, or even third... Like, a Battlefront game, I honestly wouldn't mind seeing them do that. Platforms, Cloud City. Let's do Naboo Plains, Renvar Citadel. I'll do those 4 for now and see what the time is. But like, obviously there was that whole big Disney thing that they announced with Epic Games and stuff like that. So, you know, I think if that happens, then, well, I mean, I assume it will happen, but with that happening, it'll be very interesting to see, like, what that does. Cool. Yeah, we can hear. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what that actually means for Star Wars games, because it's like, you know, what the heck? I spawned this far back because I was kind of hoping to get him on them, but never mind. Yeah, because I mean, that game, that like Epic Games Star Wars thing, seems like it's a Fortnite add-on, which if it is, I mean, Fortnite's obviously doing this thing, right? So they've got like several games now. Fortnite is no longer just a battle royale. You know, they've got Lego Fortnite in there, which is an actual like serviced game, essentially Minecraft but Lego. They've got Rocket Racing, which is a live service racing game, and then they've got they have Fortnite Festival, which is essentially like a live service, like sort of Guitar Hero sort of rock band game. So, you know, this Disney like Star Wars, this Disney park thing that they're doing inside of like Fortnite, you know, it could be a really exciting thing. Damn it. The way it seems to me is basically like some kind of Disney metaverse thing, but if they've got enough people working on it, though they've pumped like 1.5 billion into this as well, like that's to get a stake of Epic Games, but this is a huge partnership, so it's like, I'm hoping what this means is that they'll then, you know, essentially release like a you know, Star Wars games within Fortnite as well, which I know sounds like a lot of people are like, you know, and I totally appreciate why that sounds horrendous, but you know, they could essentially, using the Fortnite infrastructure, you can still make a good Star Wars game. It'd be kind of weird because you know, it might be a thing where you end up using I mean, I kind of hope they do it so that you can't use Fortnite skins within, like, the Star Wars sort of thing. I mean, in, like, the like, Disney Park thing that they create, by all means, like, use a Fortnite, like, a random Fortnite skin. That's totally cool. But if they then actually, like, release games as a part of that, you know, be that, you know, if they then release games as a part of that, then just don't allow, like, wacky Fortnite skins in, you know, like a Battlefront shooter sort of thing, you know, because that would just be horrendous. I don't really want to see, like, Anakin fighting Rey being covered, you know, Anakin fighting Rey, fine, don't mind that. Because obviously we saw that in Battlefront 2017, but it's, you know, instead of having clone troopers with them, they've got, like, pink flamingos and Doom Guy and Master Chief and, you know, all these, like, anime skins and stuff as well. I don't want to see that in a Star Wars game. So I'm kind of hoping if they then do release sort of Star Wars games within them, they've already got some skins for, like, Star Wars heroes and things. So if they did, like, a Battlefront, they've already got the skins and stuff for these heroes. They've already got a Stormtrooper skin. They've got a bunch of Clone Trooper skins. They just need to make, like, the droids, and they just need to make skins for all these other characters, basically. They have all the gameplay elements pretty much sorted. To a degree. So it's like, just focus on that. So they just basically bring in a wave of, you know, new Star Wars skins that you then can use in Fortnite, but then you have to, like, acquire them through that Star Wars game, in a way. I don't know. I mean, that to me sounds better than... yeah, that to me doesn't sound too horrendous. Because it's one of those things, like, it is happening, so you either have to, like, accept it, or just... Ooh. I forgot he doesn't have an Arccaster here, it's a shotgun. That was a close call. Yeah. It's like, it's one of those things you kind of have to just accept. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be an interesting... it's just going to be an interesting future. I mean, the fact that we've got Hunters coming out soon anyway means that we have a multiplayer Star Wars game. It's free to play. It's easily accessible on phone and Nintendo Switch. So, I don't mind that. I mean, if Hunters is the only thing we got for 4 years, or that's a bit extreme. If Hunters was the only thing we had for, like, 2 years, but it was getting updated every single month with new content, whether that's a new Hunter, or it's like every 2 months they had a big update that drops, like, a new Hunter or a new map, new game modes, a new, like, battle pass with challenges and events and stuff like that. That's, you know, I could live with that. But if we have that, but then have a big, like, sort of AAA single-player game release in a year as well, like this year, where we've got Hunters hopefully in a few months, and then, you know, and then Star Wars Outlaws, like, that's more than fine for me as well, really. I mean, the thing is, I mostly, you know, worry about these things more from a content creation perspective, because it's like multiplayer games are ultimately, you know, what keep channels running easily. You know, with a multiplayer game, there's so much... With a multiplayer game that gets content support, there's so much stuff to be able to make videos on, right? But for something like, you know, Star Wars Outlaws, you know, there's content easily available to make leading up to launch, and then when the game launches, there's loads of stuff you can do with it, but then about a month or two after launch, no one cares. I say no one cares. Some people will care, but generally speaking, the people on YouTube as a whole, the general trend is that it just dies. So it's like, So at that point, you kind of have to move on. So it's like, if Hunters isn't out at that point, then it's a bit like, well, great. I mean, I'd still make content on it, but it's just the same old slog that I've been doing for the last couple of years now. But then hopefully... but, yeah, I mean, hopefully Hunters does release, and then, you know, it'll be happy days, because that game will then hopefully just be getting content for a long time, and hopefully it's a big success, and yeah, we move. Because I think right now, like, with there not really being any multiplayer game out there, I mean, yes, we've got Classic Collection, Hunters is in soft launch, I can play that, but because there's no big multiplayer being a success on YouTube for Star Wars and stuff like that, it's hard to not want a Battlefront, but I think when Hunters releases, I mean, Classic Collection doing as well as it is at the moment, like, it's sort of just making me want a Battlefront 3 even more, but I think when Hunters releases, assuming that's a success, then, like, I'm not going to be so worried about needing a Battlefront 3 and stuff like that at that point. But, you know, I say that, you know, it would still be great to have a game, you know, release that gives us, you know, the opportunity to play as Anakin against, like, Rey on Mos Pelgo or something like that. You know, that would be really cool. I do want to see that, but it's just not so much of a necessity if we have other multiplayer games coming anyway. So, wow, that was a great shot from the Wookiee. Jesus Christ. Will Respawn keep updating Battlefront 2? Well, no, because Battlefront 2 is not Respawn's game. And secondly, Respawn have never updated Battlefront 2, so... I'm not sure where you get. Unless you mean, will Aspire Media, like, update the Classic Collection, then, again, probably not. Yeah, a Sith game roaming would be awesome. Like, I've kind of always had it in my mind that, like, we'd probably get a Cal Kestis trilogy of games. And then once the trilogy's sort of complete, I'd love to see... you know, games focusing on other characters. So I think it'd be really cool to see, like, a Clone Wars inspired game, you know, a Clone Wars timed game where you play as Jared Apau or Sia during the Clone Wars, or you get to play as Trilla as an Inquisitor or something like that. I think something like that would be awesome, personally, but... Yeah, that. When you say yeah, that, do you mean the Aspire Media updating Classic Collection? Sorry, or what's my favorite Star Wars game? Favorite Star Wars game is Battlefront 2 from DICE, and that like it's for a number of reasons. Really, it's like part of it was just the fact that, you know, big, swanky, modern, like, Star Wars game, awesome, very cool. Thanks, DICE. But then also, like, the game as a whole just has, like, a big sort of place for me, really. It's like I grew up on these games, but the modern Battlefront games are kind of what inspired me to sort of get into YouTube properly, and, like, the games industry as a whole, and stuff like that. So yeah, so that's kind of what I want. Also, that's part of why it's such a big thing for me. And then just that journey through the game's lifespan on YouTube and stuff like that was awesome. So I know I'm in the minority here, but I'd want a new RTS styles game like Empire of War. I love running mods on it to this day. I mean, I wouldn't say you're in the minority. I mean, a lot of people really want a new RTS game for Star Wars. I mean, we are getting a strategy game at some point. We just don't know if it's an RTS game or not. I mean, it could be RTS, or it could be... I can't remember what the other sort of term for strategy games are now. But But yeah, we are getting a strategy game from Bit Reactor. They actually confirmed last Saturday that they were unaffected by the EA layoffs, which is good news for Bit Reactor. I'm kind of not surprised by that, because I think the way that sort of deal's working is I don't think Bit Reactor is an EA-owned company as such. I don't actually know. I'll have to look into it, but I'm pretty I think Bit Reactor is a private company. It's not like owned by EA or anything. It's just they've set up this company and have partnered with EA to build this game, basically. That's my understanding of what it could be, but I'm not entirely sure. Oh, that was in the crotch. I love sniping. It's so much fun. This is a thing, like, actually, you know, in that video I released on Monday about, like, my concerns for the Classic Collection, you know, I kind of gave a few ideas of what Star Wars games that, you know, we could see. And it's like, yeah, okay, we can have Battlefront 2, but, you know, I personally really want to see a pod racing game at some point. Like, have, you know, it would be quite cool to have, like, some kind of story to it, I suppose. But more, just have a multiplayer as well. Like, have an actual multiplayer racing game. Or, you know, a career that, you know, a bit like the F1 games. It'd be really cool just to have, like, multiplayer F1. Also, like, with the F1 games, you've got multiplayer where you can do sort of, like, shorter races and stuff. You've got split screen where you can, you know, like, play locally and sort of choose to do, like, full race distance or, like, 3 laps or whatever. But then have, like, a career mode where you can actually, like... I mean, I think it'd be cool to have a story. So you actually, like, follow a racing team through, like, a season of some kind of race, and maybe it's during the Clone Wars or it's during the reign of the Empire or something. That would be really cool. But then have a career mode where, like the F1 games, it's not so much like a full-on career. You just sort of, like, own a team, or you become a driver, or you're a player, or you're just a driver, so you can just, like, sort of join a racing franchise within Star Wars and then race for them over, like, a sort of 10-year career is the sort of the norm. And then, yeah, you just do races across, like, I don't know, 20 tracks on 20 different planets or something like that. I think that would be sick as hell. Or it's like, I don't know, 10 planets, but each planet has 2 different tracks or something. Who knows? Yeah, so that would just be really cool. Like, it could be, and the thing is with that is that it could be just pod racing, or they do it so that you have, like, different types of pod racing. So obviously, you got pod racing from the Phantom Menace, but then you've got in Bad Batch Season 2, there was an episode where Tech, he, you know, did some racing. Yeah, Tech did a race on those, like, speeder, you know, on those, like, basically speeder bike things where, you know, they were using, like, weapons and fancy, like, kit to, you know, cause issues for other races and stuff like that. So, like, that kind of racing would be super fun. You thought there was pod racing for VR? No. Someone may have done, like, a fan version of that, but it's not. There's no official VR game. That's another thing. We need another VR game. It's been so long since the last one now. It's ridiculous. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that. But yeah, that Bad Batch racing plus pod racing plus, like, Starfighter racing that we see in Star Wars Resistance, like, if we could get, like, those 3 sort of racing types in one racing game or something like that, that would be awesome. You know, you create there's like, you know, a selection of like different drivers and things like that with their own sort of stuff, but then you can also like create your own custom vehicles and things like that. So having that in like a multiplayer game would be super fun, I think. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, it would be. It would be sick to race online with others. It's not something I really do in, like, I don't do it in the F1 games. I mean, I haven't played F1 in a long time now, but, God damn it. In fact, I've still got my code for F1 23, and I've not used it yet. That's how long it's been since I played F1. But, you know, yeah, so the next game's releasing, like, June or something, I think, or end of May. But, yeah, it's like, that would just be super fun, I think, racing online. But there we are. You know, there really is just so many possibilities when it comes to Star Wars games. Because, you know, it's one of those things where sort of any type of game that's out there, some games just won't work for certain like franchises, I think. But with Star Wars, like, because it's a universe filled genuinely with, like, you know, basically everything under the sun, it's like you could so easily just make a game about anything within that universe and it just would make sense. That's kind of what I love about the franchise as well. I want a Bad Batch game. Which characters do you want to play? A Bad Batch game would be really cool. Like a game for the Bad Batch set during the Clone Wars, so we actually get to see what they sort of got up to, would be really neat. But if we got a Bad Batch game, I would want everyone to be playable. And, you know, because they all have their own specialisms and things, so... Oof, I am hungry. Give me a sec. Absolutely wrecking. The biggest gripe I have with this game is the fact that you can't sprint. Even a Mario Kart game, like, imagine Mario Kart but with Star Wars. How, like, I mean, Disney have already got Disney Speedstorm. They made that free to play. That is literally just Mario Kart, but it's just full of Disney characters. It doesn't have anyone from Star Wars in it, because it is just like Disney, so like, you know, Frozen and Moana and stuff like that. But yeah, imagine a Star Wars like Mario Kart, because they did have that before in the past. There was a game like that, I think. I think it was called like Bombad Racing or something like that. Like years and years ago. I'm pretty sure it ended. I don't know if it did get released or not, to be fair. I don't really know much about it, but I just know that was kind of a thing. So yeah, it's just, you know, at that point, you know, it'd just be fun. You know, you could just have really fun and interesting tracks around different sort of, you know, all the different planets. You know, you have all your main characters in there. They've all got their own. Either do it so that they've all got their own unique vehicle. You know, so like Darth Vader, you know, is driving. I mean, and again, you don't have to have wheels. Like, it could be all like on ships. So Darth Maul could be, you know, racing around on his Sith infiltrator. Darth Vader in his TIE Advanced X1. And you know, stuff like that. Obi-Wan in his Delta 7 or ETA 2, maybe you've got options. Each racer could, you know, then have different skins as well, so you can, like, you know, you have their base, instead of giving them, like, because in Disney Speedstorm, they've all got their own, like, sort of racing suits on. But I feel like with the Star Wars one, you could just do so, you know, you could probably get quite a lot of money from it just by selling skins. So, and at that point as well, actually, you could have just, you know, you could pretty quickly just get people, you know, you could pretty quickly just churn out, like, new characters and things. Because, like, yeah, okay, let's say you've got Obi-Wan, right, and you bring him out in his ETA 2. All you need to do for Anakin is create Anakin as a character, really, because then it's just a reskin of the ETA 2. If you bring Ahsoka, you could have her in her, like, Delta 7. Or it's a Delta 7B at that point. So then any Jedi who mostly uses a Delta 7B, like Plo Koon, for example, just retexture the Delta 7, model, you know, just get Plo Koon modeled, and then you're pretty good. I would be more than fine with that. Oh, easy. We won. But I just think that would be really fun. And, you know, for characters themselves, you know, for Obi-Wan, you can add, you know, skins from episode 1, 2, 3, Kenobi, 4. You know, you could have Ghost, yeah, you could have, like, Obi-Wan, like, Force Ghost. You know, that would be sick. My dream Star Wars game is a Sith game because you can play as a Sith who survives the Old Republic. That'd be sick. Yeah, I mean, I think the main thing would have to be, like, how would it, like, sort of conform to canon and all this stuff. Because regardless of whether or not you want that, like, Disney want that, so it has to. The Old Republic isn't really something they've touched at the moment, so it'd be interesting to see how they sort of do that. But yeah, I want a Sith game. Like, I'd love a game as you know, you get to play as an Inquisitor, for example. Like, Inquisitors have been such a big thing since Star Wars Rebels and Kenobi and, well, yeah, the Jedi games and things like that. So make a game where you play as an Inquisitor hunting down Jedi and being an absolute knob. You know, I think that would be fun as hell. Like, people would, like, you know, if EA are like, oh yeah, you know, play as a Jedi, here's all these fancy Force powers. Imagine people's reaction when they find out you can play as like a Sith Lord with Force Lightning, Force Choke, all these swanky abilities, you know, a big, beautiful red lightsaber. Like, that, I honestly think that would sell so well. People would love that. Yeah, that's one of my sort of dreams. Like, what I'm hoping for after they finish the Jedi trilogy. Because I think EA will see the profitability with, like, Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and this next one. If they want to keep making money on Star Wars, they need to clearly, I think, keep making Star Wars Jedi games. So make a game about a Sith. New story. Or an Inquisitor, you know? Like, it would just be so good. Dream Star Wars games like Skywalker Saga open world where you can go to any planet and stuff. Yeah. Skywalker Saga was awesome. I just finished getting all the characters and ships a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, it'd be fun to get a game where you can just sort of do whatever. I'd love, to be fair, I'd love a game like SWTOR, but like a new version of SWTOR, or you know, like a survival MMO. Like, you know, Dune Awakening got a trailer like yesterday, and that looks really cool. That's like a survival MMO in the Dune universe. Make that for Star Wars. That'd be sick. You know, or like, you know, we had the mobile game Star Wars Commander back in the day. That got like sort of sunset by Zynga when they took control of the game. But you know, I'd love to see another sort of like base building game. Yeah, another mobile like base building game would be fun, or a survival MMO sort of game, or you know, you're essentially like the ruler of some planet in the Outer Rim or something like that, and you need to, you know, the Empire's fallen, and you need to like rebuild your like your planet basically. So you so you can like enter trade agreements with other planets. You have to like fend off raiders and things like that from stealing stuff. So you have to build like a defense system, and like something like that I feel like would be really fun. Squadrons 2 I would absolutely adore. You know, the first game, the first Squadron sold really well. Like it outsold EA's expectations by quite a bit. So, you know, I think they'd be silly not to do another Squadrons game. And yeah, at that point, have it so that it's at that point have it so that you then have like the prequels and the sequels involved. So, you know, have the original trilogy stuff again. So you had your X-Wing, A-Wing, B-Wing, Y-Wing, U-Wing as your ships for the Rebels. And then obviously TIE Fighter, Bomber, Interceptor, Defender, and Reaper for the Empire. So yeah, have that still. And you have that. Damn it. So, yeah, have that still, right? But then release the game with Clone Wars. So you've got like the V-Wing, Arc 170, you know, Y-Wing again, LAAT instead of like U-Wings and things like that. Would be really fun. And then for the Separatists, you've got the Vulture Droids, the Hyena Bombers, and all sorts, really, you know. And then the sequels, obviously, they just, you know, the Rebels basically just used slightly upgraded versions of what the Rebels used, and then the First Order, you know, in terms of what we actually got to see, I mean, you could just have the TIE Fighter, the Special Forces TIE Fighter, the I can't remember what they called the Sith one in the end. I can't remember now. But, you know, have that as a ship. And then, yeah, you know, you could add in, like, hero ships and things like that as well. That'd be really fun. Have you seen Dune 2, and also you're going to get Dune Awakening? If Dune Awakening's on PS5, then I might. I'm not too sure, though, because it's more of a case of how often will I actually play it for me at the moment. I'll just have to see, because the thing is, like, there's plenty of games I'm playing at the moment. I'm about to start working, at least I'm about to start working like 4 days a week and stuff. Anyway, I'm making YouTube on top of all that, so we'll see. I have not seen Dune 2 yet, though. I should be seeing it next weekend, though. So not in a couple of days' time, but next weekend. So I'm doing my best at the moment to stay away from spoilers, because I absolutely love the first one. But yeah, I'm gonna call it a day there, though. I think so. yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure. I've had a lot of fun just talking about like ideas for Star Wars games, to be honest, because there's just, hopefully, I mean, I'm sure you all know as well, like there's just countless possibilities for what can be done with this franchise. And hopefully we just get to see that at some point, but we'll see. Like I said, I appreciate the support still on all of the Battlefront Classic content that's been releasing. There's 2 more videos on that this week, plus another Hunters one, and then next week I'll have loads more and stuff. Next stream, I'm not sure. I might try and do one this weekend. If not, then it might be early next week, but we will see. I'll let you know via Discord and possibly a YouTube community post as well. So, yeah, stay tuned and have a good rest of your week if I don't see you. That is it from me, though. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you always.